Hi everyone, my name is Victor Stroy and I'm an intern at the Bruce Museum, and I'm happy to bring Digital Bruce Beginnings to you today, a program for children ages 3 to 5 and their caregivers. For today's program, we will be exploring the artist Keith Haring for Pride Month. We're going to learn about how Keith Haring expressed himself through art and used art to make people happy. We're going to look at some of his paintings and read a book about him. Then we'll talk about some activities and imaginative play you can do with an adult to express yourself through art, just like Keith Haring. Let's get started. Before we read our book, we're going to look at one of Keith Haring's pieces. This piece is called Untitled, which means Keith Haring never gave the painting a name. Before I explain anything, take a moment and discuss the painting with an adult. What do you see? What does the painting make you feel? Why do you think Keith Haring painted it? A lot of Keith Haring's art was a way for him to try to better the world. He loved to draw people dancing and included a lot of hearts because he wanted people to feel happy when they saw his work and wanted his work to be for everyone. If you take a look at the piece again, you'll notice that they don't have any defining features. The two people dancing in the piece could be anyone, because Keith Haring wanted everyone, no matter what they look like, to come together and dance and be happy instead of fighting. Now, we're going to read a book about Keith Haring's life and how he discovered his love of drawing. While we read this book, think about the piece we just saw and how it fits in with Keith Haring's other art. This book is called Keith Haring, The Boy Who Just Kept Drawing. There was a boy named Keith. When he was little, his father taught him how to draw dogs and fish and funny things. His dad would draw a line, then Keith would draw one. Soon, the whole page would be full. From that time on, Keith never stopped drawing. In elementary school, while taking tests, Keith doodled on the edge of his paper. When he handed in his work, his teachers would ask, "Why did you doodle on this important paper?" Keith didn't answer. He went back to his desk and just kept drawing. Sometimes Keith invited his friends to draw in the backyard clubhouse. Keith made symbols and said each one represented a letter of the alphabet. His friends asked, "Why do you use symbols to write?" Keith drew more symbols. It was his way of answering their questions. He encouraged his friends to join him. And here, if you look closely, you can see his symbols and how they make up the alphabet. As a teenager, Keith liked to draw in his bedroom with music playing, loud. He would draw on every piece of paper he could find. His mother had to yell over the music, "Why can't you turn that music down and go outside and ride your bike?" But Keith had sold his bike to buy art supplies. So he answered, "Look at the cool drawings I did." And he just kept drawing. When Keith was in high school, he won first prize for his art. A successful couple from town offered to buy his drawing. Keith said, "No, thank you. If you enjoy my art, you may hang it on your wall. No charge." Keith's sisters were shocked. "Why didn't you take the money?" they asked. Keith shrugged. He just wanted to keep drawing. Keith graduated from high school and went to the big city of Pittsburgh to a school that would teach him about art. There were boys on the street trying something new, break dancing. He liked the crazy shapes of their bodies as they turned and flipped on the ground. While the music played loud, Keith started drawing wiggly lines. His teachers asked him, "Why are you drawing pictures that look like scrambled bodies? This is not what we told you to draw." Keith knew how to draw. He just wanted to draw in different ways. And he kept drawing. Keith moved to the huge city of New York when he was 20, so he could draw with other artists. He started to draw all over the city, on walls, on sidewalks, on paper that he hung on lampposts. His drawings were washed away by the rain or torn down by street cleaners. Other artists asked Keith, "Why do you draw in places where your pictures are erased?" Keith didn't hear them. He was searching for another wall so that he could keep drawing. Keith got a job delivering packages and sometimes rode the subway. One day, he saw a panel of black paper on the wall in the station. He rushed outside to buy chalk and came back and began to draw. The white chalk made bright, smooth lines on the black paper. Day after day, Keith filled the empty panels in the subways with art. Soon people who rode the subway were looking for the white chalk drawings. No one knew the name of the artist, but his drawings were easy to recognize. People asked him, "Why are you drawing here? What do your pictures mean?" Keith said, "What do you see? You decide what they mean." Where Keith lived, there was trash on the street, and people didn't always say hello to each other. One day, he and his friends cleaned up 20 bags of garbage in front of a long wall. Then Keith painted square faces and smiles and body shapes dancing upside down. The neighbors liked the drawings and stopped to say thank you. A policeman came by and lectured Keith. "Why did you do this? I have to give you a ticket because you didn't get permission." Keith paid the fine and just kept drawing. Soon, people wanted to see more of Keith's drawings, and he was asked to display his work in an art gallery. Art was hung from floor to ceiling, and in between, he painted on the walls. Keith invited everyone to come over and enjoy his work. All of Keith's artwork sold. The gallery owner asked him, "What are you going to do with all this money?" Keith said, "I read in the newspaper that there are kids who don't have enough to eat. I didn't have this money yesterday, and I was happy. If I don't have it tomorrow, I'll still be happy. All children need to eat. I'll send the money to them." The gallery owner gasped. "Why?" Keith just smiled and started to draw again. Now people were inviting Keith to draw in famous museums and exhibit in galleries all over the world. He was proud that he had become a successful artist. But wherever he went, Keith insisted that he paint a mural so everyone could enjoy his work, not just the people who had money to buy it. During a visit to Paris, France, Keith painted on the outside of a children's hospital, 6 stories high. Newspaper reporters came to take pictures and asked, "Why did you paint the hospital? Do you think it will make the sick children feel better?" Keith didn't have time to answer. He had to finish the painting. When the Statue of Liberty was 100 years old, Keith drew an outline of the famous statue on a huge piece of vinyl fabric. Then he asked 900 kids to help him finish the drawing. Keith told them, "Draw anything, whatever you want. No one can say it's bad or good. It's yours." When the giant painting was displayed, people were amazed to see what Keith and the kids had made. But the art critics couldn't understand why a famous artist was drawing with kids. But you know Keith, he just kept drawing. Keith painted all over the world. He would draw on anything, anytime, anywhere. Wherever he went and whatever he did, he would not stop. He just kept drawing. Now everyone wanted to know, and together they shouted, "Why? Why do you draw all the time? Why did you give your art away? Why do you draw on buildings, on people, on clothing, on furniture, on subway walls, on cars, on skateboards, on walls that belong to no one, and on things to be thrown away? Why do you draw on everything?" Keith stopped drawing just for a moment and answered, "I draw all the time because there are many spaces to fill. I give my drawings away to help make the world a better place. I draw everywhere because everyone needs art." Then Keith turned back to the street, took a piece of chalk from his pocket, and just kept drawing. Now that we finished the book, we'll take a second for you to ask your adult any questions that you have about the book. Also, take a minute to think about these questions. Do you like making art? Have you ever shared art with your friends or family? Now that we've looked at one of Keith Haring's pieces and read a book about him, let's try out some activities with art. First, I'm going to show you 3 art pieces. All of these pieces are untitled, just like the first one I showed you. Take a minute to take a look at each piece and tell your adult what you notice about it. When you're done, think of a name for each piece. It can be silly or serious. Just remember, there's no right answer. For our final activity, we're going to do something really fun. With your adult, take any art supplies you have and make whatever you want. Whether it's a drawing, a painting, or a collage, just make something that makes you happy and that you can use to make other people happy, just like Keith Haring did. While you're making your masterpiece, just remember that art is always an emotional expression. It's a way for you to show the world how you feel, and even a way to brighten up someone's day when they're sad. Thank you for participating in Digital Bruce Beginnings. For more digital content from the Bruce Museum, please visit www.brucemuseum.org. Bye, friends.